Hi, and welcome back to the lecture series Being Human. My name is Chris, and today I think I want to talk a little bit about relationships. Now, if you're not in a relationship, or you're never planning on being in a relationship ever again, if you're not going to be around people, if you're planning on moving to a mountain and meditating in isolation for the rest of your life in a cave, I think you could probably just skip this video. This video is going to be about people interacting and kind of understanding our own psychology and interactions with other people. But if you are planning on having people in your life one day, or if you do have people in your life, or if you've ever had people in your life and you understand it a little bit better or a little bit differently, I think this would be a good video for you to check out. Relationships are hard. Relationships are hard for two very basic reasons. One is we don't understand how we experience people. And two is we don't understand our own damn insecurities. Once we start to understand how we experience people and our own insecurities in relationships, we start to see relationships from a little bit of a different place, and relationships become lighter and kinder and easier to navigate. We don't experience people. We experience our thinking about people. Think about it for a minute. Think about somebody that you care very deeply about. Think about somebody that you hold in very high regard, somebody that you feel very close to. And as you're thinking about them, hold them in your mind and in your heart. And as you do that, notice what feeling comes up for you. Notice the feeling that becomes available to you just thinking about this person. Not having them in the room, not having them in your life in this moment, but you're thinking about this person, the feeling and the experience that creates. Now think about somebody that you don't like as much. Maybe somebody you feel neutral towards, somebody you don't have any deep feelings about one way or the other. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's somebody that get your coffee in the morning, somebody that you don't have any real feelings about at all. Now hold them in your heart and hold them in your head and notice how that feeling changes. Now you haven't seen either of these people. You're just sitting here watching this video, but you have a completely different feeling, a different experience. Now take a moment to think about somebody that you don't like, somebody that you don't hold in high regard, somebody that upsets you. And notice that feeling changed again. Now, none of these people were in the room. You didn't have any interaction with these people, but you had three different feelings, three completely different experiences. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the person you care very deeply about and spend some time with them in your minds, because I want you to be in a good feeling during this video. Just take a moment to put that person back into your heart and mind, and we'll kind of carry on from there. But you start to see that you don't experience people, you experience your thinking about people. We're not experiencing the person, but we are experiencing our internal climate and our thoughts in that moment. As our thoughts change, our experience of people change. As our experience of people changes, our feelings towards them change. And when we try to work on communication, we try to work on fixing the relationship, we try to work on fixing the other person, all of this is in vain. All of this is an illusion. All of this is fool's errand. The only thing that we can fix in a relationship is our thinking about the person, is the feeling that comes up as we are in the relationship with the person. If you are in a difficult feeling towards a person, you can't fix that relationship. It is only through a deeper, more beautiful, more intimate feeling with that person that you are in any space to do any work on the relationship. I know this is an addiction lecture series, so excuse the analogy, but you can only give away what you have on tap. So if I have frustration in my mind, that's all I can give you. And if I have bitterness or resentment towards you, that's all I can give you. But if I have love and contentment and a deeper, more beautiful feeling towards you, that's what I will give you. So we start to see that we can't give away what we don't have. If I have $1 in my wallet, all I can give you is $1. If I have $2, all I can give you is $2. If I have love in my heart, that's all I can give away. So we start to see that we're trying to fix a relationship from a bad feeling, from a feeling of a problem state. Don't look for an answer. Look for a deeper, more beautiful, more intimate feeling with another person and let that move you into the answer. We don't actually experience those people in our lives. We always only experience our internal climate, our thinking, our feelings in that moment, and those feelings are something that is created inside and not in the world around us. So you can think of somebody that you love dearly and create one feeling, and you can think about somebody who's maybe did you wrong, or somebody that screwed you over, or somebody that said some harsh words towards you, and create a completely different feeling. Now, what are those feelings telling you? They telling you about what's going on in the world around you, or are they telling you about what's going on in your thinking, in your feelings, in your internal climate in this moment? As you start to understand that and get the answers to that, you start to see relationships in a much different way. You start to see them from a place of deeper psychological awareness. And from that deeper psychological awareness, we start to see relationships are not these difficult things that we have to navigate externally, but they are these things that we have to navigate in our internal world, that we have to understand from a deeper place. So we have to understand from here and not from here. If I'm looking for a better relationship, I should be looking for a better feeling. If I'm finding a better feeling with a person, the relationship automatically gets better. I know I've been married for 22 years, and when I'm in a bad mood and my wife's in a bad mood, we can't fix anything. It's World War III. We're digging up stuff we did 10 years ago and lobbing it at each other. It's a mess, and it just makes things worse. But when I'm in a good mood and my wife's in a good mood, there's really no problems to work through. There's nothing left to fix. The relationship's perfectly fine, and if there is something we need to work through, I have a willing partner to work through it with. I have for somebody to do that with from a good feeling. So we start to see that we're not experiencing people, we're experiencing our thinking about people, and our thinking creates that relationship from the inside out and never from the outside in. As you start to see that and you start to understand that, you start to understand your relationships from a different place. As you start to see and understand that, you start to see and understand that the feeling that you hold the person in is the only thing that really matters. And our thinking is constantly shifting and changing. We are constantly riding in a roller coaster ride of emotions, and we're constantly changing feelings. Therefore, our relationships, our experiences of people are constantly changing with it. If you start to see that and you start to understand where your experience of other people are coming from, well, you tend not to lash out the world around you, and you tend to treat yourself from a place of more kindness, from a place of more compassion. A couple more tips on being in relationships. I cannot give you compassion. I cannot give you love. I cannot give you a better feeling. I can only give it to us. This is not something that you can separate out. I can't give you compassion without giving myself compassion. So in a way, the space between us has been greatly exaggerated. What I do affects you, affects me. If I use kind words towards you, I might help you, but I'm definitely helping me. If I use harsh words towards you, I might harm you, but I'm definitely harming me. So we start to see this as we're not in a relationship with a person, we're in a relationship with ourselves and with that person. As we start to understand that, we start to pay attention to our own internal climate. We start to pay attention to the feelings that are coming up for us, the feelings that are going through us. And to understand that, we don't have to look towards the other person. We have to look internally. We have to look towards the feelings that are coming up for us, the thinking that's coming up for us. From there, we're in a much better spot to understand our relationships. We're in a much better spot to understand how we interact with other people, how we feel about them, how we see them. And when the underlying feeling is good, we'll return back to the underlying feeling. And everything else is allowed to come and go. When there's a deep, intimate feeling of love and connection with another person, you can always return there. When that's at the baseline, both people are allowed to return there as soon as they realize that everything else is creative thought. And the only thing that was really important was the underlying feeling. When you're in the underlying feeling, when the underlying feeling is positive, when it's loving, when it's caring, when it's compassionate, there's no problems in the relationship. The only problems come up is we start to skew into insecure thinking or difficult feelings or difficult thoughts about other people, as we start to get insecure or fearful, as we start to get jealous, or um, we start to see people not meeting the needs that we created in the first place. Then we start to see people from a negative spot. We start to see them differently. We start to see them as not the warm, kind, underlying feeling that's already there. But this is all temporary. This is all illusory. This is all stuff that's allowed to come and go. So as we start to understand our relationships is not a problem with the person or a problem with the situation or the circumstances, but really truly just a problem with the thinking that's occurring to us in the moment. We stop taking that thinking so personally. We stop taking it so seriously. We don't have to take our personal thinking personally anymore. And we start to look for that deeper, more beautiful, more intimate feeling that's available just underneath the current thinking. And from there, we know how to be in a relationship. We know how to be with another person. And from that, being from the right feeling, the right words usually occur to us. I'll give you one more example. I used to have this girl who worked for me, and she went through some tough stuff. She went through some difficult times, and she needed to take a lot of time off from work. And at some point, she started to take advantage of it. She started to take more time off from work than she really needed, and she really started to become a problem. I had other employees complaining about her not picking up her stuff, not getting her stuff done, and I had to have a difficult conversation with her. And it was my fault. I let it go on for too long, so I was going to own that part. And I noticed my entire car ride into work that day, I had a 45-minute commute. I was thinking about this conversation, how I wanted to go, and how the right words, and how I was going to make it, how I was going to be firm, but I was going to be fair. And I was planning out this conversation in my head for this entire 45-minute ride into work. I started to get this dark feeling. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't nice. I was in this, I don't like disciplining people. I don't like telling them what they're doing wrong. And I was in a really difficult feeling my entire car ride into work. And I just wanted to get it over with. And I got to work, and she called out sick again that day. And I was furious. I was so mad. I spent all this time and energy and effort trying to come up with the right words, and then she called out sick again. Well, then I quickly realized, well, that wasn't anything to do with her. She wasn't in a difficult feeling. She was home. She had no idea about this conversation that I was having for 45 minutes of my commute. So I realized that the feeling had something to do with me. I had this internal disturbance going on that had nothing to do with the other person. And eventually she did come back to work, and we did have that conversation, but I had it from a quiet mind and a more peaceful feeling. I had it from a place of being in the moment. And when you're truly in the moment with another person, that is the greatest gift you could possibly give them. Not to be having a conversation with yourself or what you want to say or how you want it to come across, but to truly be there in the moment with another person. This is the greatest gift you can possibly give to another person. Now, don't get me wrong, we all get distracted. We all get caught up in our own thinking. We all caught up in our own minds. Sometimes we're not present with people. But whenever it occurs to us, we can slow back down. And we can truly be in a non-judgmental, non-difficult feeling towards another person. And if you have a difficult conversation you need to have, I don't give a lot of suggestions, but one suggestion I will give you, and try it out if you like, is spend 45 seconds or a minute just trying to find the deepest, most beautiful, most intimate feeling you can find towards the other person. Think of all the positive things about them. Think about all the positive things that you guys have felt together, and put that feeling into your mind and put that feeling into your heart, and have the conversation from there. I almost guarantee you'll communicate much clearer. You'll leave that conversation with a better feeling. You can only give away what you have. And you're never actually experiencing the person. You're always just experiencing your thinking in the moment about the person. I'm hoping that this was helpful. I'm hoping that people can kind of start to see their relationships in a better way. I'm hoping that people kind of start to see that they don't need to fix a relationship, they just need to look for a better feeling, and from a better feeling, things start to fix themselves. They're already fixed, they're already okay, and they can just look for that deeper underlying feeling that's already there. That's about all for today. Thank you so much for checking back in. I'm hoping to add some more videos coming up this week. We'll talk to you guys later.